good morning, and welcome to this very, 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 very beautiful day. It's the 28th day in the month of March 2023. And why is it beautiful? It's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. I know Bolade does not want to give me claps this morning. Yay! Okay, I'm not here by myself. Krumale is here with me. Good morning, Krumale.
Good morning, Esther. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But Krumale, as much as we are, I don't know, as much as I am excited, there's still a whole lot on the papers this morning that I don't know how to take it in, because I thought that by today there will be cash in circulation, but I am still seeing some headlines that is talking about the direct opposite of what I just said now. I mean, I'm seeing queues persist as Nigerians hoard Naira notes on the Daily Trust, and many more headlines like that. But also something that happened not this time, but on the evening of March 28, 2022, it's 1 year since the Abuja Kaduna train attack. And as much as I like this date, I don't like the fact that we would have to recall that happened on this day 1 year ago. But those are some of the things that are on the papers today.
Yeah, it will take the government some time to reflect on what befell the people who were attacked, how some of them were hounded into captivity by terrorists, how the terrorists actually blew up the train track, how the conversation about a CCTV that was supposed to be on the track, and how the cost or the price, the fund for the unavailability of fund for that project, stalled that project. So it calls to mind again some of the security measures that the government will need to take. It calls to mind again some of the proactive measures that the military and the security agencies will need to take, so as to make sure that this issue about insecurity completely becomes a thing of the past.
Very true, very, very true. Our guest will join us later on the show, but you can let us know your top story this morning as we get into the newspaper review. We'll open the phone lines very shortly, but that is not now. We're due for a break. When we come back, you'll be listening to the papers, the Punch newspaper. You'll be hearing us read the headlines from the Punch newspaper, the Guardian, the Vanguard, and Daily Trust newspapers this morning. So you want to stay tuned for that? We'll be right back.
I know I'm not supposed to say anything. And I know it's not my cup of tea and all of that, but don't worry. I'll get out of your hair very, very quickly. But happy birthday, Esther. Long life and prosperity. It's going to be a wonderful day for you, a wonderful year for you. It's going to be your best year yet. You know how it is. We love you so much, each and every one of us right here on your Urban Lifestyle Station. I mean, I know that you guys don't play music. Like, we don't play music on the newspaper review, so I'm going to wait till possibly after the show, and then of course you're going to ask for your favorite song, and then we're going to do this. And of course, like you've said, the phone lines are open. You can actually call us to wish Esther a happy birthday. I mean, Krumale is a tough crowd, so sorry. Sorry, he's not gonna, but yeah, we're gonna accommodate calls for Esther just to wish her a happy birthday. She's a wonderful and a very sweet person, and would like you to celebrate as we celebrate her today. So happy birthday, darling.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we can go for the break now.
Yes, we can.
Okay, bye-bye.
Join us Mondays to Fridays at 7:05 a.m. to 8 a.m. for freshly baked stories on the newspaper review at High Impact 102.1 FM. Follow us on social media at High Impact 102.1 FM or call 0700 1021 1021. You can also send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
Hey, High Impact.
Hi, how may I help you?
Which species of bird lays the largest eggs?
The ostrich is the biggest bird in the world and can weigh as much as 180 kg. They also lay the biggest eggs in the world.
Really?
Absolutely.
Put a touch of class and finesse on your brand by advertising with us at High Impact 1021 FM. For more information,
call 0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, or 0902 745 3931.
Follow us on our social media platforms at High Impact 1021 FM. Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Yes, it's whenever you hear that sound, you know it's the newspaper review, and like we do, we bring you what's going on the front pages of the newspaper, and I'm jumping straight to the headlines on the front page of the Punch newspaper. The central caption says, "Ayu must go, G5 governors, Atiku campaign clash." Well, the G5 governors pre-election, they've been having this tussle, and we're thinking that immediately after the election, this call about Ayu must go would stop, but it seems like it's taking a different turn. And the writer of that particular story says that a Benue court affirms Ayu's suspension, adjourns case till April 17th. It's morally offensive for Ayu to remain chairman after electoral defeat, G5 governors camp said. Only the National Executive Council can remove me, says Ayu. Wike and others selfish, says Atiku Presidential Campaign Council. Now, to the stories at the topmost section of the Punch newspaper. Reps invite ministers. Firms over $2.4 billion oil sale. $2.4 billion. Reps invite ministers and firms over $2.4 billion oil sale. Don't travel to state of origin for census, says the National Population Commission. You get that story on page 13th of the Punch newspaper. Nigeria can defeat terrorism like UK. That's coming from Boris Johnson. Moving on, we see a pictorial presentation of the Minister of Labor and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Gordon Emefiele, met the Nigerian Labour Congress delegation by Joe Ajero in Abuja. Esther, do remember that the Nigeria Labour Congress, who just appointed Joe Ajero as its new chairman, threatened for nationwide strike.
Yes.
When the Central Bank of Nigeria seemed not to be forthcoming concerning the Naira redesign issue and the circulation of both the old and the new Naira in the populace, because Nigerians were going through a tough time. But they called off the strike, but not completely though. But they are still looking up to the CBN to make sure that there is lots of money in circulation, so Nigerians can, completely, cease from this cash crunch issue. Ngige Emefiele met NLC over planned strike. Banks queues persist. Abacha died on the eve of dad's planned execution. That's coming from Oladipo Diaz's son. You get that story on page 3. And Lagos tenant stabs friend to death during argument. That's bad. Ramadan, Vice Chancellor, Senator-elect advise Muslims on kindness and sacrifice. That's on page 20 of the Punch newspaper. And those are the headlines on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
0700-1021-1021, 0907-224-5018, 0700-1021-1021. That's the number to call. Let us know your top story today. 0907-224-5018. 5018. That is where you can send us a WhatsApp message. And yes, we're live on YouTube at High Impact 102.1 FM, on Twitter at High Impact 1021 FM. From the Punch newspaper, we move to the Guardian newspaper. Nigerians have a right to choose their leaders, says Boris Johnson. You see a picture of him with some, leaders right there. The writer says task politicians on helping citizens unleash their potential. Court restrains IU from parading self. Okay, we have a call. Hello, good morning. Hello, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Sunday calling from Mayetoro in Ogun State.
Okay, Mr. Sunday, go on.
Yeah. Sunday, call to wish Esther happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sunday.
I wish you have many more years and good in return. Thank you.
Yes, please, Mr. Sunday, don't go yet. After wishing Esther a happy birthday, which of the stories in the newspapers caught your attention?
Yeah, my concern is mostly on cash crunch of a team. We still not have much money in circulation. We go to banks, we find it difficult for banks to give us money. So that's the problem now.
Oh, don't worry. The money will come, okay? Let's give the bank some time. But thank you for calling us, Mr. Sunday, and I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. Let's continue. I'm going to try to be serious on this show today.
Please be.
It's a lot of work right now. Okay, I'm trying to put a straight face, but let me go on. Court restrains IU from parading self as PDP national chairman. That's the rider still talking about Nigerians have right to choose their leaders, according to Boris Johnson. The next rider says, only PDP NEC can suspend me, IU boasts. And Wike mocks IU, says fight against him just started. This sounds... I don't want to say... I really don't want to say it sounds like a street fight, but anyways. Cash squeeze, Ngige meets NLC and CBN to avert protest. Okay. INEC fixes April 15 for supplementary Guba and legislative polls. Okay. Maybe when we get into the papers, we can get more details. Bayelsa APC members insist on disqualification of Silva from Guba race. 420,000 investors of 7 firms shun dividends over inflation and bureaucracy. And Adama PDP alleges plots to cancel more collated votes in Adamawa. I think also Adamawa State is still having that tussle.
Benani and Mr. Amadou Fintiri of the People's Democratic Party. They still have a tussle here and there since the election was called inconclusive by INEC.
Yeah. Lastly, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, Kogi, save our loved ones. Families of abducted INEC officials cry as kidnappers demand 50 million naira ransom. That's on page 12. Wow. I mean, that is very, very, very shocking. But we'll take a break now, and when we come back, the newspaper review continues. To stay with us.
Mondays to Fridays at 7:05 a.m. to 8 a.m. for freshly baked stories on the newspaper review at High Impact 102.1 FM. Follow us on social media at High Impact 102.1 FM or call 0700 1021 1021. You can also send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the newspaper review. Do remember to know that the numbers to call 0700 1021 1021. You can send in your WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. And now we move straight to stories making the rounds on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Queues persist as Nigerians hoard naira notes. Several writers that story. It says the POS operators mop up cash at ATMs. Charges drop to 100 naira per 1,000 naira. Hoarders will have their fingers burned, says the CBN, and Emefiele urges the Nigerian Labour Congress to shelve protest. Those are the riders to the story, which says queues persist as Nigerians hoard naira notes.
Asking you, Krumale, are you not curious as to how they will get their fingers burnt? Because, I mean, the way CBN is saying it, I thought POS operators would have maybe reduced drastically the charges they are asking. I mean,
I think the Governor Emefiele is saying that because he felt most of these POS operators normally go to some persons who are playing a negative game in the banks or in the fuel station or other places where they transact businesses with lots of physical cash. So the POS operators normally go to these places, buy the money, buy the cash from there with like 20% increase of like 20% profit that they pay to those whom they are purchasing it from. Then they go and resell the cash to Nigerians with like 30% or 50% profit margin.
Another thing I heard on Sunday, at least in my area, I mean, I was trying to withdraw cash from the ATM, and the lady was saying, if the fuel stations accepted my card, I would not need to withdraw this money. I would not need to be on this queue. And so it feels like a lot of people now, some businesses are insisting on cash. I mean, if normally you should be able to buy fuel with your card. We used to.
I don't know why an establishment. I don't know why an establishment as big as a fuel station will be requesting for cash.
Yeah, so now that you mentioned,
you make it very mandatory that they are going to pay with cash. If they're not going to pay with cash, you're not going to sell the product. I think it's
obvious.
It's
the
lame.
reason is obvious now. No,
it's lame.
It's obvious. POS operators probably need a quick, or they are partnering with POS operators, or somehow maybe the attendants themselves need the cash, and this is the best way for them to get it without having to go. So somewhere in between all of this, there is some form of corruption,
cooperation for illicit gain.
Yes, not necessarily for illicit gain, but for comfort. Even with the queues at the banks now, I still don't have that time. Even though the queues have dropped, I still don't have that time to go get. And right now, I don't even have a lot of cash on me. But I don't have that time. So if maybe a POS person around here can give it to me for one very low amount, it might not be a big deal. So they know that there are people who still don't have the time to go to those ATMs. So it feels like, give us the cash.
Okay. What I'm talking about is when you have big establishment like the petrol stations. Okay. Most of them, when you go there to buy the product, they have a POS machine. So they should, if customers are coming to buy and the POS machine is available, they are bringing out their ATM cards, it should be sell it to them.
So on the flip side, the advantage for their competitors is if you don't collect card from me and the next filling station is collecting my card, I move to the next filling station. It is that simple. So that's one thing as much as it seems like one filling station is trying to play smart, another filling station can use that to get their customers.
There are downsides to that issue.
I know.
There are downsides because sometimes you need the product urgently, and these are products that Nigerians cannot do without. Just the way you need water, that's how you need fuel or diesel to fuel your car. Mandating people at this particular point in time to bring cash instead of using their POS cards or their ATMs for their POS machine, I think it's wrong. It's so wrong that you're making things difficult for Nigerians. You're supposed to be, easing the world problems and the challenge that the country is going through at this moment in time. Let's move on to other stories making the rounds in front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Hunger, rights abuse increasing in Nigeria, others, says Amnesty International. Spain tops export destination of Nigerian products in the fourth quarter of 2022. Spain tops export destination of Nigerian products in the fourth quarter of 2022. That's very, very good. That's a good development for Nigeria. And meningitis killed 52 Nigerians in 21 states. Meningitis killed 52 Nigerians in 21 states. Adamawa governorship, Fintiri kicks as Benani demands result review. You get that story on page 13 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Gunmen kill 3 NSCDC officers in Imo State. Okay, we have a caller online. Good morning and welcome to the newspaper review. Your name and where you're calling us from, please.
Good morning, my good brother.
Good morning.
I'm calling from Ogijo. This is Kenny.
Okay, thank you, Kenny.
I want to celebrate my precious sister from another mother.
Okay.
Marking my birthday today.
Thank
All right.
You see, we are the same. We share the same month. Mine was 22.
Hey,
Today
happy
yours is 28.
birthday.
Okay. That's great.
Thank you, my beautiful sister. And I
Thank
appreciate
you.
your work too. God will bless you.
Amen.
Keep on. You will not be tired. You will not be weary. In the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
I appreciate you. God. I appreciate God in your life. Thank you very much. Happy
Thank
birthday
you
to
so
you.
much, Mom. Thank you.
Mom.
Thank you
I
very
really
much.
do appreciate.
Thank you very much. Yes. Now let's go back to the papers.
Yeah, let's go back to the papers.
Yes. Man remanded for selling father to ritualist for 1.8 million.
Huh? Why?
Man remanded for selling father to ritualist for 1.8 million.
I hope the father is still alive.
So you can get that story on page 20 of the Daily Trust newspaper.
Is that the last on the Daily Trust newspaper?
No. PDP crisis. Court restrains Ayu from parading self as national chairman of the party. It's exercise in futility, says Ayu. The battle has just started, says Wike. You get that story on page 12 of the Daily Trust newspaper, and that's where those are the stories making the rounds on front page of the Daily Trust newspaper.
0700-1021-1021. That's the number to call. 0907-224-5018. Our time is fast spent. It's 7:29 already. Let me take the Vanguard newspaper very quickly before we take a break. Cash rationing persists amid improved supply to banks. Cash rationing persists amid improved supply to banks is on page 19 on the Vanguard newspaper. Kidnappers demand 50 million naira for abducted NYSC members, 4 INEC officials in Kogi State. That's on page 6, and I really don't understand why. I don't. But any attempts to stifle press freedom unacceptable. That's coming from the U.S. Embassy. Cash crunch, Ngige wades in, meets NLC and TBN over planned strike. ISWAP commander Abu Mohammed executes deputy over military attack on hideouts. That's on page 6, and you can do well to read that up. 9 days after, and the head for this one, like the main caption for this one says, State Assembly polls. 9 days after, INEC holds on to result in 183 constituencies. And it says Adamawa, Yobe, Jigawa, Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna, top states with awaited results. APC leads in battle for state legislatures with 421 seats, PDP 303. LP, ABGA, NNPP, YPP, SDP, ADC win slots. INEC fixes April 15 for supplementary governorship and national state assembly polls. And that's on page 5. Interim government, no one stole your mandate. Pro-Tinubu protesters tell Atiku and Obi. PDP crisis. Court restrains IU from parading self as national chairman. Let's see how much I can take before we move on. How Nigeria can unleash human potentials. This is according to former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and that is as much as we can take on the Vanguard newspaper. We plan to, have conversations with our guests this morning. We want to talk about some of the headlines, make sense of some of these headlines. And so we'll take a break now. When we come back, you can leave your messages on the WhatsApp number 0907-224-5018. If you have any questions for our guest, we would ask him when we come back from this break. Do stay with us.
The business terrain can be tough, challenging, and murky. You need to be armed with superior intelligence, resilience, and knowledge to be able to triumph. Do you desire to thrive in business and become a reference point? Then join us every Monday on High Impact Radio 102.1 FM for TLIG, the Land is Green Business Show. Showtime is on Monday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mopolu Shade, Shonaike, and Kehinde Ajose are your hosts. It promises to be educated, empowering, and thought-provoking.
Join us Mondays to Fridays at 7:05 a.m. to 8 a.m. for freshly baked stories on the newspaper review at High Impact 102.1 FM. Follow us on social media at High Impact 102.1 FM or call 0700 1021 1021. You can also send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
Put a touch of class and finesse on your brand by advertising with us at High Impact 1021 FM. For more information,
call 0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, or 0902 745 3931.
Follow us on our social media platforms at High Impact 1021 FM. Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. It's the newspaper review. And now we have Dr. Adedayo Kayode joins us to review the papers. Good morning, Dr. Adedayo Kayode.
Kumale, good morning this morning.
Good morning
it's
to you.
It's time I had you on your platform.
Yes.
It's sad that I've been hosting Mrs. all these days. Where have you been?
Well, I've been on record.
To see the Queen.
On record to discuss more pressing issues in the front burner of the polity.
Well done, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adedayo Kayode, and many thanks once again for joining us on the newspaper review this morning. Dr. Adedayo, yes, the stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper, though it is it has a political, it is quite political, but I want us to take that one last. But let me talk about the Naira cash, the Naira crunch. At the moment, there's still lots of hopes that money is going to circulate, and people are still the queue still persists in the bank. The NLC was going to go on strike concerning this, but Mr. Ngige and Mr. Emefiele has met with Tony Ajero, who is now heading the NLC, and there seems to be a truce going on at the moment. What's your take on it?
You see, I don't believe there is any truce to be made here. Rather than central bank to live up to its billings. There is no truce to be made, because if you are saying, okay, don't go on strike, central bank will make the money available and the money is not available. Where is the truce there? Because up till now, people are still struggling to get Naira. They have been limiting people on how much you can collect. Banks have not been giving people more than 5,000. More than 5,000. This I witnessed yesterday from two different branches of two different banks. Okay? So what I'm saying is this. Let CBN do more. If you still want us to be using this new Naira, these old Naira notes, bring them out. But it's so unfortunate the other time you say all those ones that have been recovered through the banks,
yes,
you have burnt them. So where are you going to get other ones now? Okay, the amount of money you say you have used to print new Naira notes, they are even more than the Naira notes that you have printed. The ones that you have printed, where are they? So let us be truthful to ourselves in this nation. It's because that we are not truthful to ourselves. That's why we are saying all these things we are saying. There can't be peace without social justice. That's just the bottom line.
Mr. Kaide, there will be peace, and we also want to be on the part that there will be social justice. There will be social justice, and there will be peace in the land.
Where you can have peace.
Yes. But still looking at this particular issue, let's look at the instance where the CBN said they've released money into the economy at the moment, most especially to Lagos. They talk about 20 billion naira being released to the southwestern part of the country, and I think about 60 billion naira, and that 60 billion naira was shared between 5 other geopolitical zones, but 20 billion was said to have been given to Lagos. Shouldn't that in a way affect or bring down the tension with regards to this cash crunch that people are going through? But sincerely, if you look at it, you see that the queues in the banks are going down, even though they persist, but they are reducing drastically.
No doubt they are reducing. If they are reducing in Lagos and they are not reducing in Ibadan or Port Harcourt or Enugu or Abuja or Zaria or Kaduna or Kano or Maiduguri, so what's the point? Is Lagos the only city in Nigeria? It's not. So what I'm saying is all these things must be handled holistically. Let us bridge the truth gap that we have between the people and the government. Not until when we do that. Honestly, Krumale, what we are saying is what we'll be seeing. Well, we have to say the truth. Without saying the truth, we can't get to anywhere. You are increasing the one in Lagos. You are not increasing the one in other cities. Then what's the point? If there is peace in Lagos and there are riots in other cities, listen, it is still spread now. Everything has to be done holistically.
Dr. Adedayo, I want to find out, what do you think the CBN can actually do as a means of, I don't want to say punishment, but as a way to stop people from hoarding cash, especially those that are in the business of POS and many other kind of businesses like that, from stop people from hoarding cash? Because now the new development is some petrol stations are insisting on cash, and even on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, I'm saying the riders that has to do with this particular story, hoarders will have their fingers burnt, CBN. So I'm wondering, how exactly can these fingers get burnt? Because it seems like
they are making money.
They are making,
from
aside
venture.
making money from it. There are people like me, there are people like you who don't have that time to go to the bank and withdraw money. But there's a POS person like 2 blocks away from here. So if that is the option, how indeed can they change their minds and go back to the way it used to be before now?
Actually, I've not been patronizing the POS people. Even before the cash crunch, I've not been patronizing them.
So before the cash crunch, Dr. Adedayo, it was 100 naira for 5,000 naira. For every 5,000 naira withdrawn, you pay a charge of 100 naira. I mean, banks would need their money. The infrastructure they use for sending will charge them. So it's reasonable enough to say that they are asking for these charges, 100 naira per 5,000 naira. But now it is 100 naira per 1,000 naira. I mean, and even per this 1,000 naira I was saying is now because there's now cash, a bit of relief in circulation. So I mean, when I hear that their fingers will get burnt, how do we get that?
You see, those ones are just mere statements. Their fingers cannot be burnt anywhere. Because even before now, there are instances whereby all these people that hawks new Naira notes, you have been saying you'll be arresting them for over years. How many have you dealt with? Go around now, go to parties. You will see them selling. Even the new Naira notes. You see them selling them there. Nobody to do anything. So saying that you want to get some people's fingers is just mere statement, vacuous statement. But the issue is this. Even that yesterday, some of the places I visited to see how effective the statement of CBN will be.
Okay.
You see all the POS people, they flooded some of the ATM machines. You see them collecting the money there. You also see them at the banks. And you see officials of the banks attending to them rather than other customers. Because, listen, I've been saying it. Do your investigation on all these POS machines. You will find out that most of them, all these bank officials, they have interest there.
All? Dr. Adedayo, is it all of them?
Most of them. I said you will find out that they have interest. In most is different from all. Most of them. And that is why they always service them rather than servicing the people. But it is unfortunate that the CBN now added its own to it. If CBN had not been somehow ridiculous in their services, all this would have happened. Somebody like me, I don't patronize POS, even before now, because I don't like them. I prefer to go to ATM than POS. Okay? So the issue is, Central Bank must live up to its words. Central Bank have created chaos in the country. And the chaos they have created, it should also be the one that will clean it up.
Okay,
Mr.
Adedayo. Mr. Adedayo.
They cannot clean it up. It's only CBN that can clean it up.
Okay, Dr. Adedayo, and before we leave this particular conversation, let me ask you this question.
Yes.
We realize that during this cash crunch, the CBN, as the regulator of commercial banks and the Bankers Bank, we saw that it didn't have power to implement or to give orders and make sure that the commercial banks stay by its word. We saw lots of disregard coming from the commercial banks. So it looks at the CBN somehow have lost its hold and its regulatory authority over them, somehow over the commercial banks somehow. So how can the CBN, regain that strength, regain that power, and that trust, even from the people, to regulate these commercial banks effectively? Most especially with the case of people sending money from one banking app to another bank, and they don't receive the money, and the receiver didn't receive the money, and at the same time, sometimes these monies don't get reversed.
You see, there are two sides to this particular coin you are holding on to. Number one, when there is a weakling leader, you don't expect the followers to conform accordingly. CBN as a regulatory entity on commercial banks, due to one thing or the other, known to Emefiele, had lost its credibility. Even though the creating enablement of CBN, they are there.
The acts.
They are there. The acts that created CBN All those things are there. But unfortunately, because the leadership of CBN has one motive or the other, which nobody can define, decided to move away from there to something else. And what do you expect? That is on one aspect. On the other part of it, when you send money through one particular app to another, and is rejected, but then debit your own account.
Yes.
What is supposed to be is for your money to be reversed within 24 hours. But these banks, they don't do that. They hold on to that your money. Imagine, for instance now, one of my banks is still holding on to my 7,000 in the last 1 month. 7,000. Now, look at it. That 7,000 in probably 1,000 places all over the country. You know how much that one is? And then a bank holding on to that for about a month. You know how much money they will have generated with it? So, are they not supposed to pay you interest on that money they are holding on to? If they have been compelled to be paying interest, as long as they are holding on to your money beyond 24 hours, you will see that some of these things will be corrected. If somebody had been holding them responsible, if somebody had been making them to pay for negligence, you're going to see that they will sit up. But because it is what we call akpakpin,
Could you please?
it is akpakpin.
What does it mean?
That is when you make business with it, the profit, all of you are going to share it.
Okay.
All of you are going to share it. Do you understand? So you will find out that nobody will look at that side. But it's so unfortunate that even the people themselves, they have not been taking this up. Because when you have that humongous amount of money locked up in a place, even for 1 week, you know how much it will generate for that bank. So we have to ensure.
But Dr. Adedayo, what if this is just a technical problem from tech?
How can it be technical problem for 1 month? No, for 1 month. And this thing has been happening over and over again. How long will it take you to stop such a technical problem? How long will it take you? Why should it be happening to people every time? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
During that crunch, what happened to me? It happened to me 3 times. Totally 21,000. After about 2 weeks, 14,000 was returned. It's still remaining 7,000, and I prompted them up that my money is still remaining 7,000. Okay, tell me, will you want me now to go back to that bank where I have gone to fill their so-called forms to go and waste my time?
Dr. Adedayo, if we continue with this issue and I bring out my own receipts too, we might not leave this headline today.
I'm telling you,
we might not leave it
to your listeners are now
bringing
up their
own.
issue.
We will not leave it. But there's a headline that I really want us to look at because of our time. 5 states assembly polls 9 days after INEC holds on to results in 183 constituencies. But INEC has fixed April 15 for supplementary elections. So what do you make of this headline? What do you think we'll get out of this? There are top states that are still awaiting results. Adamawa, Yobe, Jigawa, Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna top the states that are still awaiting results.
You see, let the truth be told. This INEC has been the worst INEC that has ever operated in this country.
Why did you say so?
Even when we were having FEDECO, they were more upright than this particular INEC. Let me now tell you why. When you take a kind of a trajectory study of elections and electioneerings in Nigeria, you will find out that this particular INEC has collected more money than any. That's number one. Number two, this particular INEC has gotten that opportunity, more opportunity to give us credible election than any, due to the employment of IT. All right.
Okay.
Again, this INEC has gotten the best chance to bridge the gap, the truth gap between the government and the people, based on all the facilities that it was exposed to and all the promises it gave Nigerians. But along the line, this same INEC bungled everything up by not going through its own set processes, procedures, and guidelines. And that is why what has never happened before, even during the time of Edeco, this INEC is experiencing it. After 1 week, you still cannot conclude houses of assembly elections. After how many weeks now? You are still holding on to results of some states. Look at what happened in Ogun. It's a very good example here. What happened in Ogun? The Electoral Act and our Constitution stipulates that when the number of votes that a particular candidate is having to lead the runners up is not up to or is less than the number of votes cancelled or the number of votes yet to be decided, you cannot declare a winner in that election. Rather, you declare it inconclusive. But what do we see in Ogun State? What do you see in Ogun State? Where is that social justice? And when there is no social justice, what are the likely concomitant effects? These are issues that we need to look to. And these are issues that have made me to say this particular INEC has been the worst ever since 1979.
Okay, Dr. Adedayo. I think our time is fast spent, and that's where we want to end the conversation. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Adedayo, for your time this morning, reviewing the papers with us.
Thank you, Dr. Adedayo, for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you too.
Thank you.
Yes, at the moment now, nobody wants to envy the position of Professor Mahmoud Yakub.
Definitely not me.
Because at this moment he is in, he is in the storm.
He is.
He's in the storm. And the issue about 3 billion naira that we talked about yesterday for litigation. You see other political parties, Labour Party, SDP, some other political parties came out and said INEC does not need that money. Though some legal experts came up and said INEC, that has been saddled with the responsibility of conducting elections and all of that, needs the money for prosecuting all these litigation cases. But I only remember that there is another point that was put across, that INEC, the lawyers of INEC, the lawyers that INEC uses as civil servants, they belong to INEC. So why do we need extra money for litigation cases? But I equally understood that probably the lawyers that INEC have in their employ or they are in employment is not enough to prosecute those cases.
3 billion.
3 billion, yes.
Krumale, 3 billion naira. We need to look. We need to just get an expert to explain it to me.
No. This thing about getting experts that you always talk about, we're just weighing it here.
We'll wait. We'll wait. I'm not saying
when you wait, fine. I'm not really okay with the 3 billion naira to yes, I am not.
I just want to be
I
sure
want to understand that I only want to communicate the understanding that INEC would need to pay, apart from the fact that they have lawyers in their employment who are in the civil service who are paid by the government, they equally would need to get probably extra hands, and there are other issues like facilitating the movement of these particular lawyers from one part of the country.
I like the fact that you are giving these details. I'm saying it's not enough. It is Krumale.
It's way too low.
It is way 3 billion naira. Krumale, please.
So, and the other case is, what about if this money is for litigation were factored into the 3 billion naira? But I mean, if the money for this litigation were factored into the 300 billion naira that they were given to prosecute the election case, to prosecute the election across the country. What if that case? So the thing is, INEC, who does INEC report to? Who is INEC responsible to? How does INEC give account in order to ensure transparency of the way and manner they spent this money? So until we come to that conclusion, I don't think we might get anything, some very, very strong out of it.
Very true, very, very true. But really, it's worth discussing. It's worth taking our time to discuss. But our time is fast spent already on today's episode of the Newspaper Review. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to our guests. Thank you all for the calls. Oh, I know your message came in. I was just wrapping up without reading the message. I apologize. It says, "Good morning, High Impact, and happy birthday to you, Mrs. Esther." Oh, okay, thank you. I wish you long life and prosperity. Thank you. It says, "I'm excited because I paid 100 naira charges for 1,000 naira yesterday when withdrawing from POS operator. I'm Benedict from Mowe." Thank you, Benedict from Mowe. However, I still wish we could go back to 100 naira per 5,000. But the time is way gone. I mean, we have gone beyond our time. Thank you all for joining us today. Once again, my name is Esther Kalu. Krumale will tell us much more about On Record.
On record, we will be looking at insurgency and how recently the government was granted about 594 terrorists pardon. Let's say pardon. They just went through the de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and the reintegration program of the government. And of course, like we read in the papers, they said they apologized for the atrocities and for the killings they carried out in the country. An expert, a security expert, will be joining us on the program, so we'll be looking at insecurity in the country and touching some of the areas that we need to touch for us to have a better understanding about this de-radicalization program of the government. So my name is Oyin Priya once again. Many thanks for joining us. Thank you, and see you in On Record.